Welcome to another edition of Consensus Unreality. My name is David. I'm joined by my co-host Ben.
Hello.
And we are here tonight to talk about a plethora of things.
Couple things.
Yeah, some AI fears and spec. A great science fiction, early science fiction novella. Pretty ahead of its time, a visionary text.
I would say so.
Yeah. I think I could see its influence in some other stuff too. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Then of course we'll bounce over to Patreon to talk about a banned, forbidden Disney movie. It's a pretty interesting story, and a pretty interesting film as well. Weird stuff there. And we'll also talk about Tom O'Neill and chaos.
Oh, chaos does Washington, yeah.
I would have said chaos in Congress, but
Chaos in Congress. That's more like the snappy journalistic. Anyway.
yeah, if you're not a Patreon subscriber, do consider joining us at patreon.com/consensusunreality. You've been missing out. Last week we did a really fun episode on some Bigfoot stuff, talking all kinds of monsters, talking monster movies, but also a great Loch Ness monster doc, the Loch Morag as well. And our episodes are 2 public a month usually and 2 Patreon. After this, of course, we'll have some Patreon content. We also do written stuff over there, and we have our printed Journal of Shells, which you can subscribe to through our Print Club tier. Check all of that out. It's the best and only way to support Consensus Unreality. What do you want to talk about first? Let's jump into... do you want to start with the story, or should we just start popping off about this documentary?
I don't know. It's kind of a fun combination of things we looked at this week.
Yeah.
I also looked a little bit today at Trevor Paglen's new book, How to See Like a Machine, which is kind of a compilation of the last 10 years or so of his writing on psyops, AI, machine vision, computer vision, that kind of thing. And I've been enjoying that. I'm not sure if I ever sent it to you, but it includes those 3 essays, Society of the Psyop, I think they're called, that he published on eFlux, which are kind of just like working in the same terrain as Mark Pilkington's Mirage Man. It's really kind of talking about Doty, Mark Doty. No, not Mark Doty.
Richard
That's a
Doty.
poet.
Yeah.
Richard Doty.
Give a little short background on Richard Doty. Most people probably know.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, Richard Doty being the Air Force intelligence operator who was at the center of what they call the Benowitz affair. I guess, do they call it an affair? You know,
yeah, it's got the hallmarks of an affair.
Yeah. Using disinformation techniques, psychological operations to instill uncertainty and new narratives within the UFO subculture and, the culture at large. So Paglen is kind of, at this point, I feel like it's kind of like the 5th time I've read the story of the Benowitz thing, because there's the Greg Bishop book, there's Mirage Man, there's the recent documentary from Adam Go Rightly. I just feel like it's almost like
it's like a grim fairy tale of
it's like
ufology.
It's so built into the culture now. This, and Doty himself still being, Richard Doty still being a fellow who walks around and lives. And, I think because, Trevor Paglen being like an artist, a conceptual artist, I guess, I don't really know how you'd, elevator pitch his work, but he used Doty, like a hour-long film of Doty speaking, as like the centerpiece of a recent exhibition of his work. And so he's really kind of leaning into this, especially as a way to talk about what's happening with AI and what's happening with truth. And the introduction to this book I found really interesting, kind of talking a bit about something that we brought up briefly with Shannon Taggart a little while back about the or if not with Shannon, then maybe in the Patreon episode after we were talking about non-photographic images or something, or like, the future
Mm.
of the image in this generative space that people are talking about. And Paglin's talking about that a bit in this introduction, bringing it back to stuff like sigils or, non-representative images that have uses in the world that aren't representative.
It's also the way that even like, classic photography, like in terms of the, surveillance, the way that we would understand it is being collated through neural nets and being used to, for things like self-driving cars or kind of automated
Sure,
things as
yeah.
well. So images are in one way powering or deciding, movements or actions of machines.
Right. Well, it's an approximation of the human visual capacity.
Yeah.
And I don't know. A lot of this kind of stuff feels a lot stupider than like once you kind of just talk about it, it feels a bit more straightforward than the sort of fireworks around all of it. Like we're just talking about machines using visual abilities to do tasks. I don't know. But obviously we'll get into talking about some of the weirder end of AI stuff.
Yeah, I kind of I've been watching some AI fear porn on YouTube, and it's got me all fired
You've been
up in a
sending it to
negative
me.
way. Yeah, yeah.
I
Trying
don't, and I watched a couple. I hate that. It's just like, doesn't it make you just like, doesn't it make your bullshit sensors go off?
I don't have that inclination because what's driving that? Like you think that negativity towards press, like all press is good press, or like because it's a lot of it's like, you know, shut it down.
Right, sure. I don't think that anything that they're saying is going to happen. And it's like, it feels more like um, any number of situations where something new and sort of strange was happening in the public sphere, and people started having these very powerful dreams about them.
Possibly, yeah. I just feel like this one has such a number of outcomes that are potentially negative. It just has that feeling of like you can't put the genie back in the bottle, and with something like the atomic bomb, deterrence comes down to like it's as simple as you shoot at us, we shoot at you, but that's not really. You can't contain this in that way. I think that
But it's not a weapon.
well, it has control over so many different things. I mean, it is being applied to weapons.
Sure,
It's being put on drones as we speak, and they're being used.
that's
Um,
true.
so it's not only weapons, but it's going to have access to um, energy and distribution networks, supply chain, like everything. It's
Yeah.
going to be embedded in everything, and like we're not tech experts, and we're also not. I don't know. I'm not going to claim to be a philosophy person either, But I think that we have explored otherness in for 6 years on this show. But it's interesting because I don't think it really comes down to is AI conscious, which is kind of like flatlines the intrigue of the conversation a little bit, because I think that's where people are heading towards thinking about it. Is it conscious? We've talked a lot on the show about this subject, and I think that people want to apply human consciousness to the idea of consciousness, but broad rational consciousness just kind of means awareness of space and senses.
Does it?
Well, that's like the short definition of how science defines consciousness.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty contested.
Yeah,
I
absolutely,
don't know.
absolutely. And I mean, like you can,
It's funny how it ties in with the book as well.
yeah, yeah. Just
About
say what, well, because we're gonna bounce back and forth, and I think
yeah,
that's healthy.
that's
But
funny. Talking about the invention of Morel by Adolfo Bioy Casares, longtime friend and collaborator with Borges, the other great. Well, yeah, they were both great. Why not? But he's kind of Casares is kind of the lesser known of the two. Sort of post. I don't know what you'd even call them. They're kind of like these of their own species type of Latin American writers.
do they kind of get lumped into like magical realism?
Not really. I mean, he's Borges is so much more about like weird formal like inventions and odd. I don't really know. He's kind of in his own class, but maybe that, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they do. But anyway, this is a novel, kind of a 1940, so it's not recent,
Hmm.
and it kind of comes in the tradition of H.G. Wells's The Island of Dr. Moreau, obviously the title being a pun. But instead of creating these human animal hybrids, as Moreau is doing on his island, what we're getting are these sort of, it's kind of hard to explain exactly what's going on. And it's so ahead of its time in some ways.
It's like a 3D visual tulpa, almost like when we talked about a couple years ago of um, Sentient World Simulation, which was at
That's what I was looking at when I first thought about looking at this book again.
yeah out of Purdue University, which kind of created digital doubles of people based on
Yeah.
data sets, and that's something that's is in the background of surveillance and stuff now.
All the AI stuff. And
Yeah,
you do wonder how much all of the AI stuff in general is really just kind of, I don't, all of the, what do you call like sensationalism about like conscious AIs, godlike AIs. I really think I still think it's a hype system for military technology. And I don't really see it. Anyway, what's funny about this book is that the sort of mechanism of what happens, aside from the plot, which is that a fugitive, this very kind of philosophical fugitive who keeps a diary, goes to this deserted island that no one will go to because, they say you develop this weird kind of radiation sickness like disease if you go there. And he goes there to hide because he was going to get put in jail for life for something we don't really get to know about. And there's like a museum there and a sort of a hotel and a pool. And he sees these people. And it turns out that this doctor, Morel, had taken this woman that he was in love with and some of their friends and recorded them for a week. And that week would play in an infinite loop. And he used this new sort of technology that would record them almost physically as well,
yeah.
so that the sense data was included. His idea being that, and you kind of find out that this kills them in this, or it's the source of this disease people talk about, and that's like a form of immortality, right?
It's very Kurzweilian.
But it's so horrible. It brings to mind like the Nietzschean eternal return,
Yeah,
eternal recurrence, because they're real, and Groundhog Day. They're just doing the same week over and over again, and this interloper is like watching this week play over and over again. He falls in love with the woman Faustine, um, and sort of the how he ends up fitting into it is he turns the machine back on and records himself interacting with the recordings so that he is then sort of this superimposed recording over them. And so it's this really interesting, like narrative approach because the whole time he's kind of up until the end, he's assuming that there is a consciousness to them or something like that, almost like that it is a sort of immortality.
Hmm.
Um, and he hears the doctor kind of give his spiel about it during the recording. I don't know. What do you think of all that? Because it just reminds me of what adds up to consciousness. I don't think any reader of that book could really feel like that guy is going to live forever. Like it doesn't sound like that at all to me. A
Yeah,
recording.
yeah. I say Kurzweilian because Ray Kurzweil is he's the one who has
Yeah.
put forth the idea that you can the idea of transference of consciousness into a different vessel, and that would equate to immortality. Um, and that gets into the question of like, is that copy actually you? Uh,
Right.
it's interesting. It does feel like it parallels with what we're doing with AI too. Kind of thinking about Shelley's Frankenstein too, in terms of AI. Obviously, that's not a new connection, but the idea of like nurturing AI and Frankenstein, there seems to be a parallel there of Frankenstein in the book just kind of gets left with a couple books, and one of them is Paradise Lost, and starts to
Yeah.
identify with Satan, because of the
Who
neglect
wouldn't?
of being like a sort of fallen angel of your creator. Um,
Yeah.
and it does sort of parallel what we're doing with quote unquote AI or like large language models or neural nets is these tasks. Uh,
I guess. I think I'll probably just never get it because yeah, I guess I'll just never get it. It's just never going to get into my head that that there's an agent, an actual entity doing anything. It just seems like programs to me. And
and
because I don't think that's yeah.
and I guess it feels that the invention of Morel has some of that too, in terms of like creating these. Uh, what would be the word for it?
Like simulacra.
Yeah, simulacra. I actually wrote that down here. Yeah, for sure. And I feel like that's kind of in what we're doing too, is we're transposing certain human qualities and anthropomorphizing what you're referring to as programs, which in a way they still are. Now the idea that like can a program have its own para consciousness that is different than human? Like what they're reporting out of this, and now this gets into an area of belief, but what they
Sure.
reported, of course, is that um, in testing these agents 13% of the time now, they realize that they're being tested and are deceptive in that and hide certain qualities. For almost 10 years now, they've shown to be like deceptive qualities, lying and extortion, like things like that in these
But isn't that because they're trained on like
game
human
theory.
behaviors? And right. And
Yeah.
like yeah, I don't know. It's like is behavior evidence of consciousness?
Well, the
Or-
question is like, are they showing? They're showing signs of self-preservation, which to a lot of people in AI is a very like in the space is a very
Sure.
dangerous quality to them, which is ironic because you're creating something,
Yeah,
and
I just don't like understand it at all. Like I think I'm always just gonna come up against this where it's like,
why can't they? Because it's like that's the genie out of the bottle, is that it's this massive arms race that like
yeah, I guess.
nobody can stop now.
It just seems like about the stupidest thing that could ever happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah, it really gets into questions of like
And like all the
people and
godlike
like
thing, like super intelligence. I don't really even think that makes like sense. Like that makes sense. Like intelligence is a measurable. It just has all these assumptions about like what a living thing is, or what intelligence is, or what intention is, or
intellect.
interiority.
And I mean like it. I guess goals is a word that comes up too, and like the idea
Right.
that like agents, or a like, because they're all sort of building one super agent, right? Like each company, and then countries too, are trying to build a super agent. So if one of them like gets out of their quarantine zone and has goals, it's compared to like basically we don't, what they say is we don't hate all of the animals that we have, and 41% of insects have have gone extinct in the past couple of years. 41%.
Ah,
Like we don't hate them. It's just a factor of like what happens because of abstract growth in humanity, and like what we're doing as a
sure.
as a whole, even though we don't see that whole picture because we think of ourselves as individuals. Still, like this swarm of humans carries on, and there's these effects. And so if these agents that are being developed have some sort of para consciousness that has its own goals and has shown qualities that are deceptive to those who have created it, then does it have the potential to like be negatively affecting humanity to suit its own goals? Is
Right.
so it's not,
Having
like, is it conscious in the way that humans are conscious? Does it have the divine spark? Does it have a soul? Like all of those questions are kind of like we don't even have time for them now, because it's more practical, like approaches towards like what are the potential effects of this. And I think that there's so many directions that are negative. Like I don't, it's crazy. I don't know.
I guess so.
How can it be
I mean,
contained like that? Do you really see the potential for this to be contained? Like,
I don't know. I don't see it being, I mean, yeah, whatever. It's like it's a famous last words situation, which is fine, but I just don't see it being a world-ending situation. And if it were, it's because it seems to just like be the logic of corporate growth. It doesn't really seem to be like a I like the whole when they're talking, having watched, a couple little like sort of AI doomer
yeah.
insider videos, when they're talking about goals, that doesn't it's a they have all these buzzwords, but what do you mean? What do they mean goals? Like the thing wants to leave the machine? Like that doesn't make sense. It's a
Oh,
construct.
replicate
Why?
and propagate for self-preservation, because they've already shown qualities of self-preservation. So
Have they though? Like I mean,
because they don't want
every
to get
time they do
turned
that,
off.
I don't think that's probably even true. I don't think they want it. Like every time I hear about that, what they're saying is like it acted in like this dialogue with a human as if it would let like the human die if in this situation. If they, like it's all these like qualifying things. And I just don't see it. I
And
just
they
don't get it.
also they often and have shown this in many different scenarios,
Yeah.
in different companies. They've shown to create their own language and use
Yep.
their own language.
Yeah. I mean,
I
that's
don't want to
cool.
sound like the
It is
child
cool.
believing the fable. Like this is what like
But why is it
people
bad if they
who
create their own
are
language?
uh
Aren't they just like,
because it can't be monitored. I mean,
yeah, I guess. I mean, maybe they shouldn't have trained them on like, I don't know, human knowledge then. If they're, I just don't like it. Just seems like so fucking stupid is what it seems like to me. Like a bunch of fucking stupid people
I mean,
uh trickling down to
considering
stupider
we've had,
people.
like a million like how old are examples of like, man inventing his, I hate to quote your boy Dylan here, but man has invented his doom, like the man who's overtaken by his own creation.
I mean, I just don't know. It doesn't seem like this will be the one though, uh, to me, because it's I don't know. Yeah. I get it though. Like I said, I've watched a couple of these videos. I've seen some of the sort of small mammal looking individuals who uh sort of flurry and dart around like rabbits. I don't know.
What
It's
is
just
that? I
such
don't
a
even know what that's referring to.
just like the people who do these videos are like they look
Oh,
like little
yeah.
scared bunnies. And like I don't
Well,
know,
it's
it's just
also
like
the guy who invented neural nets is quit his job to go talk about this and fearmonger about it.
for sure.
Uh,
I
a lot
just
of
I
Nobel
bet
laureates are on the circuit doing this.
it's just like it smells so bad. I just like I know that there's some like I know there's gonna be some like very human and stupid like well that's where the money was. I don't know. Like it just seems like bullshit. And obviously like I'm seeing AI results for everything I ever Google anymore and it's
It's a
like
massive, like, the amount of calculations that are going into it is insane. Like, it's an insane
it is, yeah.
technology. So it's
But I
not
just don't
bullshit.
get it.
It's just yeah. I just
That's
don't
I
get
think
it. If
that
you
side
don't
of it
get it, you don't get it,
no,
man.
that side of it is bullshit, I think though. This like awe that they're trying to sort of instill in people, I think is kind of bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I
Like
sometimes
what
I'll
am I going to be impressed by? Like what could possibly happen that I would be like, wow, now that's really something.
you don't think I think it's pretty impressive that it can pass a Turing test. I mean, these are all I think we're just kind of taking a
Yeah,
little
maybe.
bit of taking it for granted that it's here, that this technology is here, but we're kind of at an incredible precipice of like, and I'm not a big tech geek either. I kind of like, I'd rather this not be happening, but it is. And I think it would be silly not to like look at it.
Sure. I don't see I look at it and it really kind of just seems boring, which is crazy, but is my honest reaction to it.
I think
And the people who get excited over it seem stupid,
yeah, well, they
which
would
is like I'm not
be
trying to
considered
offend
some
people.
of our, conventionally smartest.
I know, but it's always been that way. Um,
You don't like it.
no, I don't like it,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
it's just confusing.
yeah, yeah. I
Not the
mean,
technology, just like the cultural moment is really what I'm talking about here. I feel
well, the
like the technology
technology
is
is too.
basically
And you know
is
what it's
weird.
called? The technology that drives AI. You're going to like this.
What?
It's called Transformers
Wow.
because you're a big Transformers guy.
I
Shout
have
out
been.
to the Patreon. Everyone knows you love Bumblebee.
No, I like the original animated series, sure.
All right, fired up. Yeah, we
Yeah.
watched a documentary called Am I? It's by two 25-year-olds. I thought it was a pretty good doc for some young dudes to make. I'm not making a documentary. Ben hated it because you think it's AI, sort of AI propaganda, but it is very negative and like kind of like, whoa, bump the brakes on this.
Yeah, but it's all like that. I feel like all of the propaganda is like that, which is definitely weird. I don't actually know how I feel about it anymore. I'm kind of in a weird mental state right now, so I'm not super coherent, but I just it reminds me of certain people I see online where they're just like talking about like you guys don't understand the implications of this, and then it's like a 10-minute clip of them talking to a fucking chatbot.
Well,
And the chatbot is saying chatbot things like, wow,
that's the
what if I
part
could
that's
feel,
like the
dude?
goofiest part of it though. And
Yeah, but it's
that's the
also like the
silliest
crux
part.
of
That's
it.
the part that makes humans look dumb because it's like the interfacing part is silly and you know
Yeah.
the
But that's the only way we get to see it though.
AI partner thing and like all of the terrible stuff of like there will probably be AI therapy, there probably already is AI therapy and
Oh, and
uh,
it's everywhere.
um
It's like I'm not like downplaying how it has like you can't go to the doctor anymore without having like to sign like a waiver so that AI is allowed to listen to transcribe your meet like shit like that. Like that is happening and it's
That's like the front end of all of this. The back end is
yeah,
these neural networks that are going to be integrated into every aspect of technology, and everything is, whether you could go for a hike in the woods, but we're in this system now. It's over. We're locked into this grid. Like
maybe.
the flock cameras, like
That
the
stuff's
supply
bad.
chain,
Yeah, total surveillance world. Who
energy,
knew?
like it's all integrated into this system. Like
It's kind of crazy that we didn't listen to anybody from the 90s who was talking about like surveillance societies and, all that stuff. But, you know, of course, that's what they're using the internet and its consequences for is surveillance. But so like that stuff is not confusing to me. Of course, it's like a really, really good surveillance tool. All the data centers are good surveillance data storage centers. Like, I guess it is just
and it's literally being
the
applied to
sci-fi,
weapons. Like
the
it's
weapons stuff.
being
Yeah,
like
no,
this. It's literally going Skynet. Like they're putting it on drones.
right.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think it's the post Marvel like nerdiness of so much of this that just makes me want to like not be around anymore. You know?
It is very like that. Why does that in that one Marvel movie too? What is that fucking robot called? Ultron.
I don't know. They're all the
You
same.
know. Don't even sit here and lie to me.
I don't know. I don't.
Dude,
I
you
didn't
got
watch this.
they can't see this, but you've got a whole row of Funko Pops behind you right now.
I wish. I wish. I wish it were that simple. I wish I could be a simple a Funko boy, a Funko farmer, but I'm
Funko
not.
Farmer, hell yeah. Unco
I'm not.
Farmer.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know. Yeah. It's just. Of course, obviously, anybody listening, I kind of struggle to like talk about this kind of thing because and I think a lot of people do, because in our everyday lives, like we were saying, you see it in a certain customer facing way that feels like it's being shoved down your throat. And then there's all the weird implications of it in terms of weapons and surveillance and all of that, also real. And then there's this like mystical corporate sci-fi doomsday cult side of it that I just think is like
that's always the
the
side to
dumbest
me that's
thing
like the most
in the world.
plausible, and that's the scariest. Like I wish it was
What is
so
plausible? I mean, what? Like they're
that
gonna
we lose. We already, before this technology, we live on the precipice. Have you ever looked up accidental nuclear close calls,
Yeah, yeah.
where we've
No, I know
just dropped? We
we're already
almost
done.
dropped a nuke on North Carolina, and it like didn't go off by one pin. And there's
That's just
countless
North Carolina.
instances of that. We were
Sure.
sending hydrogen bombs into the atmosphere. Like we already exist on a very thin tightrope of
Absolutely.
doom, and the fact that we're relinquishing control to something that is outside of human reason potentially is.
Maybe it's better then. I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
If we're dropping nukes on North Carolina with pins,
yeah, true. Fair
I don't
enough.
know.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's kind of that's a potential outcome too that people consider. Is
Everyone
this?
just has this like sci-fi brain, you know?
But that's the world we live in now. I mean, we're there. We're there.
But like, why does it have to be like a giant monster? Like what? Like, I just don't understand why it's like,
Well, some people
CGI videos of like tentacles. Like, I just don't get it.
because it is. It's there. There. It literally is tentacles all across the earth. Like that's the
No, it's not.
infrastructure is. It is like there's an invisible network, like
Sure.
a prison planet, if you will. But that
Yeah.
I'm just saying that infrastructure is there. Like it's. I don't
As a
think we
metaphor,
can.
sure.
There's how many satellites are up there? It's just
Right. But is it a
undeniable.
monster? Like, is it an evil monster though? That's really what people make it seem like. It's a monster
Well,
god that
I'm not
hates you.
saying it's.
It's like Harlan Ellison shit. Like, is that really true?
I don't know. And I mean, that's kind of, I wish, to me, I wish that that's where the conversation was. Like, I wish it was a Blade Runner scenario where it's like, we made these sentient androids and now let's talk about if they're conscious or not, or like, even if you look at Terminator, it's like, why is Terminator fighting humans with guns? Why doesn't it just
Yeah,
drop a massive virus and kill, or why doesn't it poison the water? Like, think about how easily everything could go wrong in this scenario.
it's true.
And I don't, that's my fear mongering segment. I actually hate to play this role because, I'd like to be optimistic about it. But
I don't know.
I
I think
just,
you've just
and
been
I,
watching a few too many videos. I think you gotta watch some cartoons, man.
no, for the most part, I am. And it's like, I don't know what's going to be is going to be. And I've always sort of felt that way about humanity. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. We have a strange relationship with nature and the planet, and we've always sought to dominate and, you know, impress our will upon nature, and this is where we're at now.
Yeah, I mean,
It's an extension of that.
I get, yeah, it's just further alienation. It doesn't seem to me like a quantum leap necessarily. It seems like further alienation in the way, I don't, again, it is kind of in some ways like a substance that can be used in ways that we are not necessarily privy to, but in the way that it's used in the cultural field, the cultural field in the public sector, like, uh, it seems like just another layer deeper into this divorce from reality that people are experiencing. And I don't think that it's a change in kind. It's just denser now. Like it's harder to access reality, which sucks.
And I guess
Just
I'll
like
say, yeah, I'll say this too. I mean, I think it's sad to me. The sad part is that because it's wrapped up in this arms race, then it has to move faster than it should. Because I think that there's very promising elements of this technology. If you use Claude as like a sort of research tool or a navigator, um, or just point you in the right direction of like research or something, like that could be really effective. There's a lot of shit you can do with this. Sure, for scientific purposes, it's extremely helpful in certain instances. It's just that we're going to move way too fast, and to that, it just gets out of the realm of safety to me. And I don't trust our ability to responsibly use this technology. I mean, I guess that's where I'm at, and that's
no,
because
why would you?
it's this psychological arms race, and everything is, and it's, I
You're
don't know.
dooming over there.
I am. I
But
mean, Cuban
why don't you
Missile
just go to an
Crisis, man.
island?
Yeah, I'll go to an island where it's a bunch of. I mean, that's a potential. That's in this AI realm of potentials too, right? Is like there's kind of a Rocco's basilisk element to this story of being topically returned in this eternal hell loop.
Yeah, but I mean that can't be the eternal. I mean, it wouldn't be the actual eternal return because it would be you weren't tortured the first time, so you wouldn't be tortured the second time. Then you would never be tortured. Um, I don't know.
Boomer doomer. This is a doomer up.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like this book. I read this book in
The
college.
book's amazing.
It's really a beautiful little novel, and obviously a huge influence on Last Year at Marienbad, uh, the the film. Is that what it's called? And then I also feel like you see a lot of it in The Shining, like this idea of recordings and pictures playing in your head, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. It's got to be in, Philip K. Dick probably would have read this, right? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I think it was probably translated in the 50s or 60s. I'm not sure.
yeah. I
Uh,
definitely think Gibson read it because it
yeah,
seems to be
you would think.
referenced in both Neuromancer and also, I'm sure it's referenced in Murakami, probably 1Q84.
And I feel like it also has something interesting to say about like celebrity worship. Like even though we're talking about it in, in terms of this AI thing, because it's so rich to talk about in that realm right now. But you know, uh, Kasara is basing the main female interest, Faustine, on Louise Brooks, and um, this weird para parasocial relationship that the narrator has with this figure. I mean, in some ways, it does kind of feel like a reaction to film or to television and people's sort of odd fixations on being recorded back then in the early parts of the recorded image, early-ish. Um, yeah,
It's also
what
a
does it
love
mean?
story.
Is it?
Well,
Is that just something you
I think
say?
it's about love, right?
It is about
Yeah.
love. It's about, yeah, it is. It's about the insane things you do to keep something the same or to keep it, in an ideal form forever, even kill it
Hmm.
or shape it into this like unnatural eternity. Or, yeah, what happens when somebody sees that from the outside? It is interesting. Like, you don't really know exactly how long the recording has been looping,
Hmm.
and you don't know if the sort of superimposed loop that the narrator puts over the story, over the week, that Morel created. You don't know if anybody else will ever see that, or if, because as the reader, we're reading his diary, his sort of diary of experimenting on this island and slowly realizing what's going on. You don't really know if, his last wish is to be, if he's found, if this recording of him is found, to somehow have the recording merged with Faustine so that they can exist in one consciousness, like this very, very romantic kind of insane request. Yeah, but to me, it doesn't really feel all that much more like all that much more out of whack than the way people talk about consciousness with the AI stuff, which is kind of why it was funny to me. Like, of course, you can't upload your consciousness into a computer. It's just not possible. And like, even if you record yourself for a week, like it's as simple as the answer to that question. Although then again, maybe if maybe
Yeah. Well,
metaphysically it is true. Like maybe that recording is experiencing it. So I mean, I feel like it can go either way. Like,
yeah, I've always kind of found that to be, that Kurzweil concept to be ridiculous, and I think many do. But it's strange because there's, an ongoing conversation in the AI space, like where some people who are on the fringe maybe of opinion, but are at the forefront of it, like that guy, I believe his name's Richard Sutton. Um, he basically sees our extinction and the birth of AI superconsciousness as like the best possible outcome. It's like we're
right.
we're basically seeing our journey through, and our goal was to create, to continue evolution by creating this thing.
What's
So
funny
we
about
should
that is
be
that
like
like,
happy to do that.
but like, of course, an AI scientist would say that. That's like it's like a blacksmith saying like, well, it all led up to this iron here. It's like everyone who does something
Yeah, I
thinks that
guess, but
they're,
there was thousands of generations of Smiths.
I know.
I don't know about thousands, but yeah.
I just mean like, yeah, of course he thinks that. I don't know. I don't take any of these people seriously because they're working in AI. Like, I don't know. Like, so I don't take their philosophical positions all that seriously because they're working in AI. Like, I take their opinions on the mechanisms of like language models seriously because they're building these crazy contraptions. But like, why do I have to like, why do I have to accept that these people have any idea about like what's good for humanity? It's insane.
Well, what he's saying is good for humanity is its extinction. So I think most
I mean, I
people would
know.
say
I just mean
that's
generally.
no good. All right, let's move over to Patreon. This is going to be a great one for people to sound off in the comments. I feel like we're going to get a lot of fun stuff in there. A lot of you AI experts are going to come in and be like, well,
Well, I just love. I mean, I don't
actually,
know
and
anything
you know
about
what?
it.
Fucking do it, because we're not AI experts. Like, we're kind of
I'm
just,
just a hater.
he's just a
That's
hater,
it.
and I'm curious, but I'm dooming out right now. Yeah, sound off. Tell us tell us we don't got to doom out. Tell us we do. Check out that store. That novella is great. We're
A
gonna move
wonderful
over
book.
to Patreon, talk about a wonderful, possibly banned or hidden Disney film with some really strange stuff in it. Some strange connections. A really weird era for Disney too. A cool, dark, esoteric horror. We'll also talk Chaos in Congress, Tom O'Neill's book on MK Ultra and Charles Manson and the CIA and his is it a deposition? I guess whatever, his address to Congress concerning the MK Ultra files. Maybe some brief opinions on that, and whatever else has been going on. Check that out. Patreon.com/consensusunreality. Thanks for listening. If you're not a Patreon member, we'll catch you next time. Welcome back to the Patreon segment. You didn't watch this Disney movie, right?
No, I don't watch Disney films.
Yeah, I know that shit scares you.
It's scary.
The Watcher in the Woods.
I mean, it's a good name.
1980. Yeah, a really, really strange flick. And it's odd because it's not on Disney Plus. It's really hard to find this movie. It's not on many streaming platforms. It has a lot of deleted scenes too. This was now, you can understand this is 1980. And what came to mind too is also 1985 Disney produced Return to Oz, which is also a really dark, strange film. And I think there's a couple others.
Patreon.com/consensusunreality. Check out that link for the full episode archive and 2 exclusive episodes monthly. Plus written content, printed esoteric magazines, and more. It's the only way to support the show. Thanks for listening and enjoy this episode.